Suzie Canale and I work for the Westwood Public Library Children's Department. But before I was working at the library, I spent 20 years as a wholesale florist in Boston. There I learned about shipping flowers from all around the world. I learned a lot about growing and cultivating, and growing has always been a big part of who I am. So in the middle of this, in the last month, we've been stuck inside, and maybe you're wondering about taking up a new hobby, or maybe you're wondering how you can get back outside to your garden beds. I thought it might be fun if I could maybe show you a couple of tips. Why don't you come this way? So it's still the middle of April, and it's not very beautiful out here yet, but don't worry, stay positive, it will be, I promise you. There's still lots of things that we can do to get ready, and pretty soon that weather is going to warm up, and you're going to see things blooming everywhere. But thankfully, we are starting to see a little life pop up. If we come over here, we can learn a lot about perennials. Now, when you start gardening, you have to decide whether if you like perennials or you like annuals. Perennials are flowers that come back every single year, but annuals you have to plant every single year. I love perennials. I'm very thankful that I love perennials because I see a lot of life out here already budding up when it's very difficult for us to get to greenhouses and nurseries at this time. So perennials are a wonderful investment. They are going to be a little bit more expensive, but again, if you visit your local flower shops, greenhouses, nurseries, you're likely to find a really good selection, varieties of plants and flowers that are very hardy to New England weather. So one of my favorites right here is called the Hellebores plant. This shade is black and maroon. It's very beautiful. It's unusual. That's why I like to plant it. It's already in bloom, as you can see. And this plant in particular, I think it's about 4 to 5 years old. I've already split it at least once or twice and replanted it in other areas of my garden, and they're all doing beautifully. This is very dependable. It's going to be one of the things that you see right away in the spring. So I highly recommend looking for Hellebores. It comes in a whole variety of different flower colors, such as whites and pinks and peaches. It's a nice addition to your garden beds. Next we have something called yarrow, and the way you can tell this is that it has very feathery leaves, like this. And yarrow is going to grow up to be about this high. This particular one is pretty old. It's probably maybe 6 years old. Can't exactly remember what color it is, but yarrow comes in a variety of shades such as white and yellow and pinks, peaches. They're great, they're dependable. They make great flowers for clipping. So at the end of June and beginning of July, you're going to be able to start going into your garden and making your own flower arrangements for your home. And yarrow is a wonderful one to add to your beds. The only thing you have to remember about yarrow is that people with high allergies will be super sensitive to this flower. I am not allergic to any flowers or plants, but yarrow is something that you want to stay away from. And if you are particularly have high allergies, I can show you a whole bunch of other flowers that will be better substitutes for you. So one thing about gardening that I really love is that for everything that I tell you about advice, you're going to hear a bunch of other people counteracting that, saying, no, don't listen to her, it goes the other way. And that's the greatest thing about gardening. You have a whole bunch of different theories and you can collect them and listen to them and then make your own gardening plan up. So along with that said, with the advice I can give, I can also give you some of my mistakes, which is right here. This is called decorative grass. And while it is very pretty, it has its place in your landscaping, it does not belong in your garden bed. As you can see, this is spread. This is about 7 years old. Every year I have to yank it out and throw it out, and still, as you can see, it grows back. It's very difficult to get rid of. Decorative grass is really great for planting if you need bushes in certain places, or you see it a lot planted around mailboxes. It's very beachy looking, which I also love. I just don't love it in my garden bed because, as you can see, it takes over. Here's another perennial that I love. This has a lot of names to it, but I call it catmint. And catmint is another fabulous variety to plant in your garden beds. It grows into a big bush, and it's very wispy. It's a great filler. It's going to shoot out some purple flowers that are very wildflowery look. I love that. Again, it's another excellent suggestion for cutting when it gets a little bit warmer out and the plant matures a little bit. I would suggest that for all you people out there who say, I can't garden, I kill everything that I touch, you can't kill this. It's virtually indestructible. So look up catmint, ask about it. It does come in seeds. It's a little bit more difficult to foster and mature as a seed, but it's certainly doable. So next, I have a couple of bulbs here, and I'd like to talk about this because in New England we have a lot of wildlife here, and we have a lot of problem with deer. So these are great examples of something that a deer will not eat. These are called allium. And this particular one is called Giganteum allium, and it's going to grow up to be a big purple ball like this. Allium also comes in drumstick, which is a smaller, more ornamental type of allium. Again, deer won't eat this because it's part of the onion family and they don't like the taste of it. So these are really good investments as well to think about. Another plant that I'm seeing pop up, I'm so happy about, is called Sedum. And this is one variety. Sedum comes in a whole different bunch of species, different forms. This one almost looks like a tropical plant. It almost looks like an aloe, but it's not. It's going to grow and mature. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And one piece of advice I do have about growing flower beds is that the great thing about sedum is that it's green, it's going to stay green. And when you have a whole bunch of different colors coming into your garden, green really kind of pulls it together. So I have sedum all over the place, lots of different types of species. Another little tip that I learned from a Dutch master was that if you're planning to color palette a garden, if you all love pink flowers, if you love lavender flowers, I love lavender flowers. I tend to put a lot of lavender in my garden beds. But if you're just going to try to put a whole bunch of different shades together, stay away from white. White has a tendency to break up color, whereas if you leave white out, I love white flowers. I have their own little garden patch somewhere else, but it does tend to bounce color off and things don't blend as well. So I do follow that tip because I believe it and I've seen it come true, but again, it's just another idea, something to think about. Right over here, I'd like to take you to the other bed. So this is called lamb's ear, and this is another awesome thing to put in your garden. This is going to grow and mature and then cascade over the side of it. The petals are really incredible because they feel like lamb's ear. They grow a fuzz on top of the petals and they're green-gray. So again, it's another really beautiful contrasting shade to anything else that you're growing in your garden. Now, with those perennials that are some of my favorites, right now you can also accomplish a lot of things in your garden. If you look down, you can see some garden seed. Most lawns look like this. After the winter, we can have really harsh winters. So right now is a great time to reseed. We tend to get a lot of rain during this time of year, and this will catch pretty fast. Before you know it, it will be all green again. I do it every year. It's one of my tasks. It has to be done. Another thing you can think about is rose bushes. So this is too long. It's dangerous. Somebody running by will get hurt. So you want to clip back your roses. Not only just for safety, of course, but it also fosters more growth of the flowers if they're kept trimmed down. And you don't want a rose bush taking over like this. So I hope you enjoyed today's little lesson. I'm going to be here for maybe 5 or 6 more weeks, just giving you a lot of tips. We'll be making our own do-it-yourself terrarium. I'll be teaching you how to pot your own seeds and lots of other fun stuff. So I hope you had fun and enjoyed. See you later.